Have you ever tried to book a last-minute haircut only to remember that your barber's closed and you look like an extra from Castaway? Is that just me? Well, today's guest has also felt that pain, but instead of complaining, he built a business to fix it. He leveraged technology to create Vagaro, a platform that is currently helping 250,000 plus beauty and wellness and fitness professionals all run their business with the kind of technology that was traditionally only reserved for those enterprise giants. So I want to learn more about the story behind this great company. How maybe a missed haircut in Korea, a layoff in 2008, and a desire to support solopreneurs. How all these things, combined with a desire to help support solopreneurs, became the spark for a global SaaS company. And of course, we talk AI, the future of service-based tech, and why nobody wants a robot waving scissors near their neck. We'll cover it all today. It's a cracking startup story, this one. So enough from me. Let me introduce you to today's guest. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Fred Helou. I'm the CEO and founder of Vagaro. Vagaro is a website and a marketplace where you can go on it and search for salon, spas, and fitness businesses. So you, for example, you'll be able to go in and say, I want to get a haircut in London at 5 p.m. in the afternoon on a Friday. Show me who's available. You can read their reviews, and you can book an appointment with them. And once you book the appointment, it actually shows up on that. It's not a request. You're actually booking a real appointment that shows up on their calendar, where they can see it and know that you booked with them on the back end. And for the salon and spa and fitness businesses, we give them a solution that basically allows them to manage their business, do payroll, manage inventory, and so on and so on. Many things.
Well, you spent a lot of plates there, but I'd love to take you back to the very beginning and learn more about your origin story. What was it that inspired you to create the company? I think way back in 2009. And how did your early experiences maybe shape the platform's mission and direction? I feel like there's a bit of a story there.
Yeah, I'm going to actually age myself right now. It's before 2009. It's 1999.
Wow.
I was on a business trip in Korea, and that's before iPhone, before cell phone, before WhatsApp. Think any messenger. Back then, if you had to call your hairstylist from overseas, it cost you $2.50 or like $3. I remember these days,
Yeah.
And I was in Korea, and that's been a thing with me. I think that happens like all the time. Every time I would think about getting a haircut, I want to call my barber to get a haircut. It's always like 7, 8 p.m. at night, and they're closed, and there's no way to do it. I'm like, oh God, I gotta remember the next day. And it's the same thing. And I keep going through the circle of forgetting to make an appointment, because the time I think about it, it's when I'm at night and getting ready to go out or whatever. I'm like, I need a haircut, So, same thing in Korea, and I was going to be there for 2 weeks. I'm like, so now it's a bigger problem, because not only the time zone is way off, for me to call my barber, and I have to wait another 2 weeks, so I don't pay $3 a minute to make that haircut, until I book it, and then it's going to take me another week to get in. It's like, this is disaster. I'm like, I wish I could just go online and just book that appointment,
Yeah.
So, of course, now I'm 2 weeks in Korea. I'm like, this is a great idea. Somebody needs to invent this. Maybe it should be me. I can't wait to go home and start working on it, And at the time, I was already employed at a company. I just got my job. I'm trying to be a good boy and not, be focused on my career at that company. So I got back and I called the lawyer. I'm like, at least I want to patent it before somebody makes it, right? It's just a matter of time before somebody creates this idea. So back in 1999, to my disappointment, there was no way to patent a process. Like, things had to have a schematic. It had to be like a physical part that that you can back it up with schematics and so on. And the guy told me, you can't patent a process. I'm sorry, there's no way you can do anything about it. Since then, things have changed, and I really didn't know that things have changed. I don't know when they changed, but I know right now you can. Um, so it was disappointing, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm sure somebody will do it. I'm just gonna stay at work and focus on my job. Couple years later, Open Table came up. When I came up with the idea, I was like, this doesn't have to be. It started with salon and spas, but I'm like, it doesn't just have to be salon and spas. It could be restaurants, could be tea times. It could be fitness businesses. It could be all kinds of stuff. So Open Table came up a couple of years later. I'm like, okay, I'm sure somebody's gonna do the salon and spa anytime now. Tea times came out. I'm like, okay, well, how come nobody's done this? Like, how come this hasn't triggered yet to happen? But nobody really did it until 2009 is when I got laid off from my job from the 2008 crisis. As you know. And this thing has been itching at me for years. That's been like 10 years. And I'm like, I need to go do this. I have to do it, So being laid off really gave me the final push to finally go create this company.
Love it. What a great story. And of course, you've seen so many different changes, so many big trends from the internet arriving to the arrival of mobiles and applications to cloud. And of course, now we're talking about AI everywhere. So how are AI and automation, how are these technologies changing the way that service-based businesses operate here in 2025, particularly in beauty, wellness and fitness sectors? What are you seeing here?
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of Vagaro was to be assistant, right? To be an assistant to our customers. We're all about, and by the way, in the 10 years that I didn't do the idea, now I'm married and my sister-in-law is a hairdresser. So I got to experience, talk to her and pick her brain. And it was really obvious what she wanted, which was an assistant, She hated the fact that, first of all, people would call her to book an appointment, and you become friends with your clients. So every phone call is a 5 to 10 minute. You can't just take the appointment and hang up. You gotta be social and so on. So the whole idea of Vagaro was to be an assistant where we're taking their appointments. They used to have to call the day before to remind their customers of the appointments. And again, every phone call couldn't be just, hey, don't forget you have an appointment tomorrow and hang up. It was like, oh, and how are the kids? It went on. She's like, this drove her nuts. Not that she didn't love talking to her customers, but she liked spending the whole day doing her work in the morning and then staying on the phone in the, at night and so on, just doing this tedious work. So we've always been about being an assistant in taking the appointments for them, reminding the customers of the appointments, right? But there's still a lot of setup that you have to do as a stylist, to get that assistant going, There's still a lot of thought that today in today's world for how to market your business, right? It's not enough just to be on a marketplace like Vagaro or Google or Yelp or whatever that might be. You still have to go out of your way to create promotions, to decide what discounts to give, where to put your discount on what services and so on, and what's the best time of the day to discount services. So the future is going to be where you just let these service providers, whether it's a fitness business or a hairdresser and so on, just focus on doing their work, which is whether it's cutting hair or giving fitness classes and so on, and just turn on AI and let AI do everything it can to bring you customers, right? And that's kind of where we're taking this whole thing. So, and there's many knobs, as you know, to get customers. You could do Google ads, you could do Facebook ads, you can do daily deals like a Groupon website, right? And every single one of them, you have to create the text to put in there. You have to put in the graphics to, what the graphics needs to look, which graphics will give you the best return, and what is the pricing that you need to put in that's going to be most attractive to the customers. We want to make it where they don't have to worry about that. All they have to say is, just fill my books. I want to be booked 8 hours a day, every day. You figured it out, and if we can accomplish that and do it well, I think we'd have a very good AI to give to our customers.
Fantastic. And as we do increasingly have almost one eye on 2026, are there any trends you're seeing at the moment that are emerging in beauty and wellness tech? Anything that's caught your attention? And how are you preparing for that future as 2026 comes closer?
Yeah, I mean, again, AI, a lot of us are doing AI right now, but it's mostly like, let me help you write the email. Let me
Yeah,
help you, reply to a review. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Let me help you. But what if AI goes to the next step and says, instead of help you reply to the review, what if AI just replies to the review for you? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. The review comes in and you can trust it so well. And this is where we're going, that it's going to reply and it's going to do it correctly and not offensive, without being offensive and stuff like that. It's like the difference between assisted driving, when you get in a Tesla or whatever right now, you still kind of have to keep your hand on the wheel right now and keep your eyes on the road. And this is kind of the world we live in with AI right now, where it tells you, this is what I think I'm going to do. Do you agree with it? And then press go, to a world where I'm just going to trust it. I'm not going to even look at this here. I'm going to turn my seat around and talk to my friends while AI is just going to take care of, So I think right now, a lot of what's happening is, AI is kind of an assisted, AI, where you still have to kind of, monitor what it's doing. And this is where the world we live in right now. But I think in a couple of years, people are going to have much more trust in AI, where you can just turn it on and forget it and just get reports on how it's performing,
And one of the things I love around AI is how it's lowering the barrier. So I'm curious, for the work you're doing, how are you supporting independent professionals in accessing tools that were maybe once only available to large enterprises? Because that's the exciting thing, isn't it? That lower of the barrier of entry there.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a Vagaro business, whether it's small, whether it's a booth renter working by herself, or a large business, you wouldn't know the difference, because when I started out, the people that would be sending email and text reminders or sending email marketing and so on had to be large businesses that cost thousands of pounds or dollars. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that a small person can afford, and we wanted to make any business come across very professional and at a very affordable price point, right? So what we did, when I looked at the industry, 65% of the industry were solopreneurs, and if you want to have a marketplace where everybody's on it, you can't leave 65% of the industry. You can't cater to only 35%. When somebody goes to book an appointment with only 35%, that's going to be a very small demographic that you can book with,
Yeah.
So we, from day one, we said we're going to create a software that caters to everybody and will be priced to be able to be affordable for everybody. You know what I mean? So for the solopreneurs, the price is much more affordable. It's in their area. And as you add employees and as you become a larger business, then we charge you more for the business. And that helped us be able to handle the solopreneurs, be able to handle the mid-market, businesses, businesses that have anywhere from 5 to 20 to 60 employees, all the way to businesses that have franchisees and multiple locations and so on. And Vagaro is able to handle all of it. So by doing that, now we're able to have everybody on the marketplace. But the difference is when I go to book with an appointment, whether it's a franchisee, whether I'm still having the same experience. I still book the same way. I still get the reminders the same way. I still have the same professionalism that the small hairdresser is able to give me from a technology standpoint. You know what I mean? All the way to the large enterprise business. And the pricing is all, made to be catered for everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and one of the things I love that you stand for, there's so much talk in our news feeds at the moment of AI replacing everything and ruining the human experience. But the work you're doing here, you've got software now playing a role in using technology, but shaping customer experience and enhancing those customer experiences rather than replacing that human interaction, right?
I don't think anyone wants a robot hairdresser, right? Like,
Yeah.
We don't want that. I mean, a hairdresser is a therapist. She's a,
Yeah.
she's someone fun to talk to, right? And on top of it, I don't think anyone wants scissors very close to their necks. Like, I don't care how good that robot is. I don't want any scissors next to my neck. So their jobs is very safe, you
Yeah.
know, and there isn't much in this industry. So outside of the hairdressers, and you have the front desk person, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of these businesses, most of their jobs is either you're performing the service or you have a supporting staff that handling the calls and stuff like that. And that supporting staff tends to do other tasks like maybe sweeping the floor every now and then, or washing the towels, or serving a drink. All of these jobs will always be safe. What we're trying to do is help the hairdresser just be able to do more of her job, which is cutting hair, or whatever, or giving classes or performing spa treatments. Even more so because they're not worried about the other tedious tasks that are needed to be done, like managing inventory, selling products, shipping products to their customers, answering the phone. We have an AI assistant that answers chats, helps somebody book an appointment, answers any question that they want about the business, working hours, what the price of a service is, so working today. They can ask it any question and it just responds to them 24/7. So now the front desk person doesn't have to be constantly sitting at her desk, waiting to respond to all these messages that are coming from the customers, right? They can walk around, they can, handle, whether it is like taking care of the towels or serving customers and so on, without being on all the time, and trust that the AI is going to do the job and respond to all these questions properly.
Yeah. I also wanted to highlight, I think you've got more than 250,000 professionals that are using your platform. So how do you prioritize features and innovation that serve such a unique and diverse user base?
We do, we started out with salon and spas, and we added, we mostly salons, and then we added spas and medical spas and fitness. But it's always been the same. We talk to our customers. We always meet with our support staff to see what the issues are. We look at the tickets. What are people asking for? We tag what is a feature request from an issue that they're calling for. Every time there's a feature request, we have a website that we host that customers can go in and submit feature requests. And if it's not done by the customer, if they call us and they're asking sales, hey, I would like this feature, or support, I would like this feature, everybody's trained in the company to go to that website and add a +1. If it's already been requested, add a +1 to it. If it's not, create a new item in there for as a feature request. So we do look at this quite a bit, and we see what are our customers asking for, right? But at the same time, and when we go after the top request, and we go to them. But at the same time, if we only go in after that, we're not going to be able to be very innovative. You know what I mean? Like Henry Ford said, if you asked everybody what they wanted back then, they would have just said the faster horse, right? So you look at these, you look at the industry trends, what's going on with AI and so on, and what could be happening, that could help our current customers. And then we always have to be innovative ourselves and come up with ideas that nobody thought of. So it's a balance between the three, I feel like we do a pretty good job at it. We've done a lot of features. Very rarely we've came up with something that was a dud that no one wanted. You know what I mean? Like we've been able over 16 years to always come up with features and capabilities that when people see, they're like, oh yeah, I like that, and they get it, and they start using it.
And before you came on, I was doing a little research on you, and I learned a lot about your own personal experiences, from fleeing civil war in the Lebanon to building a global SaaS company. I'm curious, you put all that into this big melting pot. How's that influenced your leadership and your approach to growth? How's it impacted you and shaped those decisions?
Yeah, Lebanon, I mean, I grew up in Lebanon from, I was born in 70s, from the
Yeah.
70s to, and the Civil War, I left in 88. So I lived about 13 years of war. The war started when I was 5 years old. Um, it still was a very, like, I don't look at my childhood and say it wasn't a happy childhood. You know what I mean? It still was a happy childhood. I had a lot of friends, but war does affect you. It definitely toughens you, when the war, believe it or not, started in the city I lived in Beirut. I remember very well, we were at a wedding and we're coming home from the wedding, and first time I hear bullets flying, and my mom is she's driving the car and we're all ducked in the back, we're 5 kids, in the back of the car, ducked in, worrying where we're gonna get hit. I think at the time I didn't even know what those sounds meant, you know what I mean? Uh, but it definitely increases the stress level. But I hate to say it. Um, with time, you get used to the chaos,
Yeah.
and you get used to being able to live through it and focus through it, and the level of chaos that you're dealing with is so intense to be able to like still go to school the next day or do your homework or like just like be able to have a normalcy when the bullets stop, um, makes you realize how bad things come. And then you come to the United States and none of that. And electricity is on 24/7, and the roads are okay. And you're like, things can't get that bad anymore, right? So everything that happens after that seems trivial, and not everything. There's a lot of stuff we all go through that are very hard, but it definitely makes you realize there's light at the end of the tunnel. It could be worse. Appreciate what you have, and so on. So the whole chaos in running a business, you're always running into these moments where you could. I mean, always live in a moment in a world where I might go out of business any day, or or something catastrophic that's going to happen to me. But you always go back to you've been trained for so long to like go back and say, okay, let's stop. Let's think about this. Let's get centered and focus, even though with all the noise and all the chaos that's happening around you, So in that way, it's really good and makes you appreciate what you have.
And for anybody listening, maybe inspired by your story, and maybe they're an entrepreneur in a traditional service industry, and maybe they're hesitant about adopting new technologies like AI and automation. I think you've got so many great things you could be offering here. But any advice to those people that could be listening?
Well, at this point, if you don't do AI, I think everybody will be in trouble. I think we're going to be in a world where AI is going to be everywhere. I think there's going to be less UI and more AI, meaning less dependency on people to be interacting with a screen and more maybe with assistants or an AI that just does things for you. Yeah, so I think we all need to embrace AI and learn it and do as much of it as possible. Don't do what I did. I was scared for 10 years to start a business. Reality is most people that do businesses, if you have the right idea, and maybe you don't have to be number one, you don't have to be the best at it, but you could get a business to a certain point where it's pretty successful and you probably can sell it and make a lot more money than any job that you would have for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, a lot of people think, being an employee at a company and all this stuff will probably be, and it's a safe bet, and you probably live okay for a long time. But if you really want to be, have a life-changing event, if you have a good idea, just go in it, do the best you can, take the risk, do it to the best of your ability. You might fail, but odds are you probably get it to a certain point where somebody's willing to buy it from you for a good price, and, that's what I would recommend a lot of people, and don't do an idea that's already been done. Just try to think about something different. And we run into stuff so many times in life that we say, I wish that existed, like the minute you have that happen in your brain, just go say, well, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
And just go do it. Yep.
Fantastic advice. And thank you so much for sharing your insights today with everybody listening and advice. And before I let you go, I'm going to see if there's something we can do for you now, because some of the biggest names in business, VC funding or tech have either been guests or often listen to this podcast. So is there a person you'd love to have a private breakfast or lunch with? And who would it be and why? Because he or she might just get to hear this. So let's see what we can manifest together. Who would it be?
I've always been a fan of Bill Gates for a long time. Again, I came in to the United States in '88, and I started programming around that time. And I was on DOS and then Windows, and I remember watching his keynotes. So I think about keynotes back in '88, like 2000, and I thought he was a big visionary. And I actually were a big Microsoft house. So I've always had a respect for him. And I've had a respect for him even more about all his philanthropic things that he's done right now, and all the good deeds that he's been doing all around the world. So I think he'd be I love his intelligence. I think he's very smart. And I've just been a big fan of him all around, Yep.
Awesome. Shoot for the moon. Well, hopefully there'll be, if Bill himself's not listening, maybe a friend of a friend of a friend is. And if they are, then this is your call to action. Make this happen. But for everybody else listening.
It's funny you say.
Yep.
I'm on my way to Seattle right after this. So maybe meet me at the airport. What do you think?
The stars are aligning, my friend. That's all I'm saying. But, for anyone listening wanting to find out more information about Vagaro, how they might be able to work with you, etc., where would you like to point them? Where's the best starting point for everything?
Yeah, just go to vagaro.com. That's our marketplace. This is where you can search and book with businesses. And if you add a /pro to it, you'll find out a little bit more about what we do for the businesses and so on. So it's either vagaro.com or vagaro.com/pro.
Awesome. Well, I'll add links to everything there, make it easy. And we covered a lot there, from how AI and automation are redefining small business success in some of those service industries, even learning more about the future of beauty and wellness tech, where that's heading, and most importantly, I think, the evolving role of software in customer experience and business scalability. Some incredibly exciting opportunities out there for people in these industries, especially if they're leveraging your software there and your services. So thank you for sharing that with me today.
Good. Thank you.
So what did we learn today? If you ever said, I wish this existed, maybe that's the universe nudging you to go out there and create it. Because today's guest, from a childhood in war-torn Beirut to running a company transforming how small businesses thrive, for me, Fred's story is a powerful reminder that resilience, timing, and just the right amount of caffeine can take you a long, long way. And as for his dream there, having breakfast with Bill Gates, well, stranger things have happened. So if you're listening, Bill, or if somebody listening knows Bill, please, let's make Fred's Seattle stroll a little bit more interesting. But also, I want to hear from you. You've heard from me and my guest today. How are you using technology to take the tedious out of your day-to-day or other people's day-to-day? Let me know your thoughts. Please pop by techtalksnetwork.com. There's a whole variety of ways you can connect with me, and also LinkedIn, X, Instagram, all those usual places too. But that's it for today. So thank you for listening as always, and I'll speak with you all again very soon. Bye for now.